Okay, so at this point we've now got some setup rules. So we've got the setup rules for the bearish engulfing and the bullish engulfing. They're all there ready to go. So this will allow us obviously to do a back test. Let's just take this. We don't need to name it for a moment. Oh, can do it on the, let's do it on the euro yen. And well, date wise, it really doesn't matter at the moment. So at this stage, all we need to do is pop those two on there, bearish engulfing, bearish and pairing, put the time frame we want to trigger in, run the speed we want to run at. I just want to run at 1 bar an hour, and then just press the button and it will find the trades. Let me just open it. There we go. So it will find me a short trade here, long trades, etc. What I want to do now is make it semi-automatic. So once I see that set up, I can decide whether to take it or not. Now, for me, this would be in normal trading. I don't like trading at 1 o'clock in the morning. However, and it's worth doing it. You might want to run your first one right the way through the day, 24 hours a day, because you'll always ask that question. Well, does it work all the time? However, I'm not going to be, if I'm sitting and I haven't automated it onto an MT4 account or something like this, I'm not going to be sitting there for 24 hours a day. So my biggest interest is only to be trading those that qualify between, say, 8 o'clock and 3 o'clock. This one I'd normally ignore. So there are ways, and I'll show you that in future videos, of actually ignoring these ones and just trading between 8 and 3 or 8 and 4. Okay, so firstly though, that can be taken from the entry rules. We get a set of entry rules. Now, I've got no entry rules yet for this, so let's build some entry rules. We'll build the whole lot of rules here. So basically, I need to, before I get too far into entry rules, I need to build a rule which would be the actual trigger, if you like, for the entry. The entry rules has different aspects of it, and you need to just build a trigger in terms of what would be the trigger. Now, just to make things simple on this, I'm going to put a stop at the high, and I'm going to put a sell stop at 2 pips below. So we need to build that little, it's a core rule. So remember, we run into core rules, so this is a core rule. So let's go and build a rule. In fact, I'm cheated on this because I've already built it, but I'll go through it with you. So the core rules, there's a and I've called these execution. When I've named them, I've called them execution rules. So what I was just talking about there, I'll show you where everything comes from. So I've just literally clicked on at the bottom here, new rule, core, named it as I have here. I'm going to cancel that. Named it as bearish engulfing execution. And then what's the rule? So remember, I said I would sell at 2 pips below. So let's put that into play. So you've got the low, so the price value, the low of the last bar minus 2 pips. So the minus comes from up here as an operator. So subtract 2 pips. So that comes from price. You've got to be careful here because you've got input, and I've done this before. If I put input of 2 instead of pips as 2, so it needs to make sure it's pips of 2, because otherwise it won't work. So there you go, that's the little bearish engulfing execution. And the bullish one, then I've built exactly the same process. I just copied it actually, but then decided it was near enough as quick to have done it anyway. And here the high goes over the top of the for a short bullish engulfing execution. It's the high of the last bar. So this is the trigger, remember, high of the last bar. So we just bring in the high, drag that across there, add that to 3 points, and that gives me my little core rule of triggering the trade. So done. So that's that part. So next stage, and I may as well do it straight away here, is to complete an entry rule. Now entry rules, let's go into new rules, click on entry, and this is going to be bullish engulfing. We'll do first, bullish engulfing test entry. Okay, just so I know what that rule refers to. And sometimes if you name rules that are in different parts of this. There's a core rule and everything else. It gets a little bit confusing. It will say that rule already appears, although it's a different type of rule, but it's still a rule named at the same name. Right. So what do we want to do with this bullish engulfing trade? Well, firstly, just check your orders right here. So we want to buy stop, so that's fine. So we click on just a little box up here and buy stop. Now the stop loss is really easy because this is going to be the low of the, I've done this on purpose. I'm going to just pick the low of the previous bar, or last bar as it is, and we click that OK. So that's the low of the last bar. That's the stop. I could again build a core rule here and put low of the last bar less 5 pips or something like that, but I'm just being a bit semi-lazy here. The take profit, now I don't need to fill this in at this stage, but it's best to have a take profit at this point. So what the take profit is going to be is a percentage. So there we go, take profit percentage, and drop that in there, and whatever percentage you want, I'm going to put let's put a 1.2. Okay. This lot size automatically to 1%. That makes life easier because you haven't got to mess around working out your lot sizes. Your execution price, well, we need to put an execution price in, and that was that core rule we just built a moment ago. So we've got the this is the bullish one, so we just click the bullish engulfing core rule. You can only drop it where it needs to go. Expiration delay, if it hasn't triggered in an hour, you can either have no expiration and it will just go on, and but I just want it to trigger in the next hour, so it's 1 bar. Click OK. Exit rule, well, I basically built an exit rule with my stop loss and my take profit, so that's not really needed, it's optional. And there you go, I've literally just then built the bearish engulfing test. Let's click that, and now that will be in my entry rules. So let's get rid of my core rules for a minute, and you'll see it in my entry rules here, bullish engulfing. And now obviously the next thing to do is clone that rule and take that, rename it, and reshape it. So it's bullish and bearish. So bearish engulfing, we'll get rid of the copy. And let's just go through the rules quickly. It's pretty easy. So we want it at the high of the last bar here, the stop. Stop needs to be at the high of the last bar, so just click that, drop that in there. Okay. We'll take the same profit target. I've got a 1.2. We'll stick with that. Same 1%. Now we need to change our execution method, and then that's going to be now the bearish. So we just drag that in and replace that. Expiration, exactly the same. And now we need to just change up here because we don't really want to buy stop. We want a sell stop at the lows. So we just check that to sell stop, and that's the whole thing done. We save it. And Bob's your uncle, as they say. So we've got an entry rule. So now we've got this set up here. So let's test this, and we're going to go for the bearish engulfing. So entry rules, remember, we've got the setup rules. We've popped the setup rules already on there, so we don't need to do anything more of that. Close that down, and then we just got entry rules. Now I'm just going to click on here. This is a bearish engulfing, and there you go. All I did was click and drag. So just dragged it onto the chart, and automatically it's put the stop loss in. So for the next bar before it happens, it's all there. So we can either go bar by bar, which I quite like. There you go, it's entered the trade, and then it's going to stop the trade probably. Right, okay. Interesting thing here, I haven't built it in yet, but we can build in stop to break even at 1-to-1s and things like this. So it's quite useful to bring in, but haven't built it in yet. That will be another video. So at the moment, it's not hit target at that stage, and it's been stopped. Okay, so on to the next one. Another bearish engulfing. Let's try that one. So all parts of the order have all been placed there, hasn't been triggered, and so on. So we can just carry on doing this. You can see it's quite quick. It's certainly worthwhile doing. because you get a bit of an eye for what's going on. There we go, that one's entered in one. So we go to the account history. We've had two, we've had one of each. One, actually we had one that's lost, one that's triggered and didn't even come up on here, and then one that's won. So there you go. Now the thing with this is you can run through it, you can get a big picture, and this is a great place to be. So this is the next step. At the moment, the next step after this, of course, is automating it. When it comes to automating it, there'll be an extra step, because you might not want to trade 24 hours a day. You may want to switch it or whatever, but all these things I'll add in extra videos for. So this is the video of actually setting it up. Now if you want to fully automate it, watch the next video and it will just be a fully automated version of this running 24 hours a day.